This is TWiT.
So, what is it that they say? Give me the top line, Lori Gill. Did Apple have a good quarter?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, there you go.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Revenue, $91.8 billion, far ahead of the expectations. The market thought they'd get $4.54 a share. They got $4.99 a share. They got product revenue of $79.1 billion. Services up to $12.7 billion. That's been a nice steady increase every quarter. Overall income, this is 3 months, kids, $22.2 billion. They're going almost $8 billion a month. Lot to learn from this. In fact, I'm going to turn to Jason Snell and his great color charts. I love those charts. He does them every quarter. First chart's very telling. Quarterly revenue by category. That big blue wedge, 61% wedge, iPhone.
That's changed a lot because remember it went down to almost 50-50 when the iPhone took a big hit and everything else was up, and now there were no new iPads, and except for the Mac Pro and the MacBook Pro, there were no new Macs. So the iPhone back on top, baby.
Wow. But this was to be expected. This quarter is the holiday quarter where they announce new phones. They sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
Not a surprise. Services 14%. Wearables 11%. Revenue, it's very spiky, as you can see, and we're in that peak quarter, but still the highest revenue. Is it in Apple's history? I think it is.
Yeah.
Profit also highest.
Pretty much product company history.
Yeah. Of any company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Revenue up 9%.
Any publicly traded company.
iPhone revenue up 56%.
I mean, to give you an idea, Google finally had to reveal. So the rule with revealing income is if the CEO sees the line item, you're supposed to tell shareholders. And Larry Page never cared about apparently never cared about how much any of the Alphabet companies made. So since he technically never saw it, he didn't have to disclose it. But Sundar Pichai is the detail person. So for the first time, we learned revenue of the constituent parts of Alphabet, and YouTube is $15 billion in AdSense.
Oh, wasn't that interesting? Yeah.
And that sounds like a lot, but then you look at how much each of these Apple units is making per quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, YouTube is not. When I saw that number, the first time I've ever seen a number out of YouTube, it was lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of money.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Given that it's
just the narrative.
It's
like all these
essentially a
big
service in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The big cost for YouTube obviously is, there's lots of costs for YouTube. The server costs and people costs and everything else. But it's a
moral cost.
Well, this is before
digital ad. One thing you're
though.
noticing is the margins as Apple moves to services. The margins aren't very, the gross isn't very big yet, but the margins are like double what the hardware.
Look at
60 compared to 30. Yeah.
Look at the growth on wearables, home, and accessories. But I think this is Apple Watch, right?
Apple Watch and
AirPods.
Let's not forget AirPods. In fact, maybe it's mostly AirPods. Apple does not break it down.
And Apple Watch Series 3 and AirPods Pro were still Apple was not able to supply them to fit demand yet.
Yeah.
So this is with constrained demand on two popular products.
Year-over-year revenue changed 37% over last year.
Not too shabby.
Although last year it was 54% growth, 48% the year before. So
Was that year before or quarter before?
Year-over-year.
Year over year.
Year-over-year, yeah. But you're right, it's quarter.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's confusing.
Because that was the release
Last
of the AirPod
quarter
Pro.
was 54% year-over-year growth. Last quarter. That was very confusing. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, as you said, Mac and iPad, not impressive. Look how linear that growth is for services. Although, didn't Luca Maestri say Apple TV Plus revenue is immaterial?
Yeah.
What does that mean, immaterial, Lori? What does that mean?
Well, they launched it in the middle of the quarter, and it's free for almost everybody, So I think right now they're just not incorporating it in, or it's just there's not enough data to be reflective of the actual numbers. And I think it was Luca that was talking about how they're planning on sort of like spreading out revenue for it over the next year. It's going to be sort of like divided out amongst device purchases, because all of those people have they get that first year for free. So they're sort of taking a little bit from the actual device sale itself and moving it into the service, but there's a lot of unknowns to account for. So I don't think we're really going to see numbers that matter or that are really solid for, more than a year from its launch because of that initial freebie section of time. There's so many things that are unknown that
fewer people took the freebie than they expected.
Bernstein did, I think 10%.
I don't think Apple said it. But it was said.
Tony Sacconaghi.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that was an analyst said that.
But that's so you have to take into consideration some of that stuff. So what he might have been saying with that is 10% of device purchases, not necessarily 10% of people who were qualified for it.
Because I bought 3 or 4 devices this year, and I only took one subscription.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's something else that you have to consider is the family sharing thing, that only one of the subscriptions can be used with the family sharing. So that knocks down that sort of like device purchase spread out amongst the services thing. And there's also a lot of, other countries where either it's not available at all or it's available, but none of these shows are first language,
so
something other than
might well be 100% of U.S. buyers per person
that are qualified for it, right? Yeah. So
services, nevertheless, very nice roll, up 17%. That Apple TV is in the services, right? It's TV Plus is a service.
TV Plus, yeah. TV Plus is a service,
the thing. Did they say how much they want to spend? Because they spent $1 billion last year. Netflix spent $17 billion. Is Apple going to up the ante?
They didn't say in the meeting in the earnings call what they're going to spend.
Nobody asked. They were too busy asking 5G questions that they knew Tim wouldn't answer over and over again, like 3 times.